Can you solve all these Google Apps questions? Email app.
Sharp thinking. Gmail is the right choice. Google is a clear logic. Your choice search engine is sound.
Online puzzle game.
Solid response. Google a day is a valid choice.
Founder of Google.
Good thinking. Both 1 and 2 is the right answer. Note-taking service.
Correct.
Google Keep is the right answer. Who created Chrome? Smart move. Google is an accurate answer. Where can you shop? Right again. Google Shopping is a valid answer. Diagramming software. You got it. Your choice Google Draw fits well. Google began in Dash. You're right. January 1996 is the correct answer. Who invented Google? Excellent. Both A and B is a brilliant choice. Google Word Processor. Well done. Google Docs is the right choice. Google's email system. Correct response. Gmail is the most accurate answer. Google Pixel is a dash. Great job. Android is the accurate answer. App to create web pages. Exactly. Google Sites makes sense. When was Google created? Good job. January 1996 works well here. When was Google founded? Valid point. 1998 is true. What is an active slide? On track. Google Slides Workspace is the correct answer. Who is the CEO of Google? Nice selection. Beautiful Pitchy is the correct and valid answer. What is Google Classroom? Well picked. Online Classroom is the correct answer. Free multilingual machine. Great thinking. Google Translate is the right choice. Widely used search engine. Bravo. Google is the answer. Google apps are based on. Right choice. Cloud computing is the best answer. Phone developed by Google. Well reasoned. Pixel is the correct choice. What is Google Sheets for? Nice work. You chose to perform mathematical calculations, and it is correct. Google Scholar is used to. Strong choice. Find published articles is the right answer. Google is mainly used as a. Excellent choice. Search engine is the right answer. App to make exams on Google. Perfect. Google Forms is the correct choice. Who created the Google apps? Smart pick. Google is the correct choice. What apps are in the waffle? You chose Docs Slider Sheets. And it is correct. Google Translation helps us. Nicely done. Translate is a solid answer. Google Keep can be used for. Good job. Lists, tasks, and notes works well here. Google Chromos is based on. On track. Linux is the correct answer. Google was founded on Dash. You're right. 1998 is the correct answer. What year was Google invented? Solid response. 99 is a valid choice.
Which app can create a survey?
Correct. Google Forms is the right answer.
Google Drive has unlimited dash.
Well done. Data storage is the right choice.
Mess Excel have same features like.
Right again. Google Sheet is a valid answer.
Which is an online office suite?
Nice selection. Google Docs is the correct and valid answer.
A Google tool used to store files.
Nicely done. Drive is a solid answer.
What tool replaced Google Hangouts?
Well reasoned. Meet is the correct choice.
You can use Google Drive to create.
Perfect. All of the above is the correct choice.
When YouTube was bought by Google,
You got it? Your choice, November 2006, fits well. A time management app by Google is. Excellent choice. Google Calendar is the right answer.
which one is related to Google app?
Good thinking. Gmail is the right answer.
G Suite was formerly known as Dash.
You chose Google Apps for education, and it is correct.
What can the Google search bar do?
Exactly. All are correct, makes sense.
Drawing made using the word Google.
Nice work. You chose Google Doodle, and it is correct.
In Google Sheets, columns run dash.
Clear logic. Your choice vertically is sound.
Google Classroom using what browser?
Smart pick. Google Chrome is the correct choice.
Google Classroom allows you to dash.
Excellent. Everything is true is a brilliant choice.
What can you use Google Slides for?
Strong choice. Creating and presenting slideshows is the right answer. Presentation program through Google. Valid point. Google Slides is true. Google Docs is Google's version of. Great job. Microsoft Word is the accurate answer.
Google Sheets is the equivalent of.
Bravo. Microsoft PowerPoint is the answer.
Where can we find Google Assistant?
Right choice. Both A and B is the best answer.
Cloud-based service to store folders.
Well picked. Google Drive is the correct answer.
Google Apps acts like Microsoft Word.
Smart move. Google Doc is an accurate answer.
What file format does Google Docs use?
Correct response. Google Docs format is the most accurate answer.
One of the founder of Google is Dash.
Great thinking. Larry Page is the right choice.
What is the Google Apps for education?
Sharp thinking. Google Tool Program Set is the right choice.
What is the Google Drive capacity dash?
Good thinking. 15 GB is the right answer. Who is the creator of the Google Apps? Well done. Google Corp is the right choice.
Google Slide dapat digunakan untuk dash.
Great job. Make a presentation is the accurate answer.
Google Dash is a blog servicing program.
Nice work. You chose Blogger and it is correct.
When Google Allo was launched by Google.
You chose 21 September 2016, and it is correct. When Google began as a research project. Excellent choice. January 1996 is the right answer. Which service is not used in Google Apps? Correct response. Google Road is the most accurate answer. Google Drive is a way to store your dash. On track. Files is the correct answer. The founders of Google studied at Dash. Nicely done. Stanford University is a solid answer. What does not belong to the Google apps? Sharp thinking. Google Creator is the right choice. Which email is used in the Google system? Great thinking. Gmail.com is the right choice. What Google tool is used to create forms? Right choice. Google Forms is the best answer. Below are example of Google apps, except well-reasoned. Zoom is the correct choice. Google Sheets is a type of Dash software. Well picked. Spreadsheet is the correct answer. Which Google app provide blogging service? Perfect. Blogger is the correct choice. Structured wiki and web page creation tool. Bravo! Google Sites is the answer. In Google Sheets, rows are labeled by dash. Good job. Numbers works well here. It is a store of apps and many more things. Smart pick. Google Play is the correct choice. Where can you find all of your stored work? Nice selection. Google Drive is the correct and valid answer. Below is a service on Google Drive, except strong choice. Google My Mop is the right answer. What is the main function of Google Sheets? Solid response. Creating and editing spreadsheets is a valid choice. What provides 15 GB of free Google storage? Right again. Google Drive is a valid answer. For which today Google is mainly used as a? You're right. Search engine is the correct answer. What is Google Apps Script primarily used for? Excellent. Automating Google products is a brilliant choice. Which of the following is not search engine? Exactly. Paint makes sense. What is a key characteristic of Google Keep? Correct. Location-based reminders is the right answer. A Google app used to have virtual conference. Clear logic. Your choice meat is sound. The place where all of your files are stored. You got it. Your choice Google Drive fits well. To change the background color in Google Docs. Valid point. File page setup is true. What application is used for word processing? Smart move. Google Docs is an accurate answer. What is the 7th most used app from Google? Great thinking. Google Earth is the right choice. Which is a blog publishing service by Google? Great job. Blogger is the accurate answer. Google Docs can be saved in this file format. Nice selection. Docs is the correct and valid answer. What does the plus symbol in Google Classroom do? Solid response.
Join a class is a valid choice.
What device can you use to access Google Apps? Excellent. All of them is a brilliant choice. Which item cannot be inserted into Google Docs? Correct. Vine is the right answer. Which Google app would you use to collect data? On track, Sheets is the correct answer. Virtual assistant using artificial intelligence. Sharp thinking. Google Assistant is the right choice. Where is Google Docs perfect for creating work? Well reasoned. Create document work is the correct choice. What does Google Cardboard use for presentation? Bravo, virtual reality is the answer. Which app has world's largest ebooks collection? Valid point. Google Play is true. What main task does Google Cardboard accomplish? Good job. Virtual reality works well here. How much free space is provided by Google Drive? Perfect. 15 GB is the correct choice. What Google tool is used to perform video calls? Right choice. Google Meet is the best answer. The best browser to use for Google Classroom is? Well picked. Chrome is the correct answer. The first page that Google Sites loads is called? Smart move. Homepage is an accurate answer. Application to send messages online called Dash. Exactly. Google Mail makes sense. It is a blog publishing app developed by Google. Clear logic. Your choice Google Blogger is sound. What types of files can be saved on Google Drive? Nicely done. Everything is true is a solid answer. Which app will let you change the font character? Strong choice. All of these apps is the right answer. Where does my work go when I work in Google Apps? Good thinking. My Google Drive is the right answer. What Google tool is used to create presentations? Well done. Google Slides is the right choice. Documents you create using Google Docs are stored. Smart pick. In your Google Drive is the correct choice. What Google app is best used for writing an essay? Correct response. Docs is the most accurate answer. What Google app is used to create data and charts? You chose Sheets, and it is correct. What do we need to get access to every Google app? Excellent choice. Gmail is the right answer. What Google app can I create a shared photo album? You got it? Your choice Google Photos fits well. Which Google app is most useful for essay writing? Right again. Docs is a valid answer. What is the free storage capacity on Google Drive? Nice work. You chose 15 GB, and it is correct. Google Drive provides you with the storage of Dash. You're right. 15 GB is the correct answer. How do you create a timestamp in Google Apps Script? Correct response. Use new date function is the most accurate answer. Where will you need to know how to use Google Apps? Right again. High school is a valid answer. Going to use Google Sheet. Which mail should I use?
You got it? Your choice, Gmail, fits well.
Which of the following is not a Google application? Sharp thinking. Facebook is the right choice. Microsoft Word and Google Docs are examples of what?
Well picked. Word processors is the correct answer.
What 3 apps are a good substitute for Microsoft?
You chose Docs, Sheets, and Slides, and it is correct.
Which item is not available in Google App Services?
Strong choice. BitTorrent data sharing system is the right answer.
How much free storage space does Google Drive offer?
Great job. 15 GB is the accurate answer.
What is the maximum file size limit for Google Docs?
Clear logic. Your choice, 1.02 million characters, is sound.
What is the Google app equivalent to Microsoft Excel?
On track. Sheets is the correct answer.
Which extension helps change funds in Meet sessions?
Smart pick. Visual effects is the correct choice.
Which extraordinary feature Google Allo provides you?
Nice work. You chose Smart Reply and it is correct.
GeoBrowser that accesses satellite and aerial imagery.
Good job. Google Earth works well here.
What Google application is used to edit spreadsheets?
Correct. Google Sheets is the right answer.
Which folder in Google Drive should you never delete?
Perfect. Classroom is the correct choice.
What Google application allows me to organize events?
Great thinking. Calendar is the right choice.
Which Google app is used for creating text documents?
Excellent choice. Google Docs is the right answer.
An online learning management system of Google Apps is?
You're right. Google Classroom is the correct answer.
Which of the following is not located on the Help tab?
Well reasoned. Search the web is the correct choice.
Mrs. Jung has taught this Google class for years.
Good thinking. 2 is the right answer.
Name the web-based email application offered by Google.
Nice selection. Gmail is the correct and valid answer.
Which of the following is an example of an application?
Right choice. Google Docs is the best answer.
Which of the following is not a Google app we will use?
Valid point. Figures is true.
Google Docs is perfect for creating work in which side?
Well done. Create document work is the right choice.
Which of the following is not a feature of Google Docs?
Exactly. Spreadsheets make sense.
The ability of Google Slide is similar to which program?
Smart move. Miss PowerPoint and OpenOffice Impress is an accurate answer.
Google Apps for Education provides a capacity to user.
Nicely done. 50 GB is a solid answer.
Which of the following apps allows you to organize stuff?
Excellent. Google Calendar is a brilliant choice.
To use Google Drive, which service must be applied first?
Gmail is the answer.
Google Slide has a face and style similar to any program.
Solid response. Microsoft PowerPoint program is a valid choice.
Microsoft Word is to Google Docs as Microsoft Excel is to? Smart move. Google Sheets is an accurate answer.
What Google Drive service is the same use with Ms. Excel? Valid point. Google Sheets is true. Which Google app helps you schedule events and reminders? Solid response. Google Calendar is a valid choice. What application is best used for creating a presentation?
Right choice. Google Slides is the best answer.
Which of the following is not a good use of Google Sheets? Well done. Creating invitations is the right choice. What are the additional features that each Google app has? Good job. Add-ons works well here. Where are documents that you place on Google Drive stored? Smart pick. In the cloud is the correct choice. What Google application is used to program online meetings? You're right. Google Calendar is the correct answer. Dash is a voice-activated smart speaker developed by Google. Perfect. Google Home is the correct choice. What are Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides often compared to?
Correct. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint is the right answer.
Limit time flexibly in Google Forms can be done by way dash.
Strong choice. Make token is the right answer.
Only Google Drive is the access point of these Google tools. Exactly. No makes sense. How do you embed graphics from Google Sheets to Google Docs? Excellent choice. Add one click is the right answer. Which is the first phone with the Google Assistant built in? Well reasoned. Pixel is the correct choice. How to see the results of the Google form response dash? Well picked. Menu. Responses of view responses is the correct answer. How many free storage space does a regular Google Drive has? Clear logic. Your choice 15 GB is sound. Which Google app would you use to write a letter to someone? On track. Docs is the correct answer. The Google application used to edit documents online is dash.
Nicely done. Google Docs is a solid answer.
Which Google app allows you to create and share spreadsheets? Sharp thinking. Google Sheets is the right choice.
Google Chrome is a full-featured software designed by Google.
Great thinking. Web browser is the right choice. Which of these functions correspond to those of Google Drive? Nice work. You chose all of the above, and it is correct. Google Apps will save files automatically every -seconds.
Nice selection. 5 is the correct and valid answer.
If I wanted to type an essay, which G Suite app should I use? Great job. Google Docs is the accurate answer. What Google app would you use to manage and create documents? You chose Google Drive, and it is correct. Part of Google Docs where you see every heading that is added. You got it. Your choice edit fits well. All formulas in Google Sheets begin with the following symbol. Right again. Equal to is a valid answer. The following are the main functions of Google Sheets, except. Excellent. Demand is a brilliant choice. This app provides its users up to 15 GB of free backup storage. Bravo. Google Drive is the answer. You can keep and organize your ebooks using which Google apps? Correct response. Gbooks is the most accurate answer.
Applying for Google Drive will have to apply through anything. Good thinking. Gmail.com is the right answer.
Google Docs works similar to what program of Microsoft Office? You're right. Microsoft Word is the correct answer.
What can you use to organize and analyze data in Google Sheets? Good thinking. Pivot table is the right answer.
Which Google app is used for creating multimedia presentations?
Well reasoned. Google Slides is the correct choice. Where do the photos come from that are stored in Google Photos? Right again. Your cell phone is a valid answer.
Dash is a full-featured web browser software designed by Google. Correct. Google Chrome is the right answer.
Which is the order to count the amount of data on Google Sheet? Great thinking. COUNTIF is the right choice. What feature in Google Drive allows you to access files offline? Sharp thinking. Available offline feature is the right choice. Which of this is not one of the 3 reasons people like Google? Nice selection. Simplicity of the logo is the correct and valid answer.
Google application to create a website page is easily called Dash.
Excellent choice. Google Site is the right answer. Which of the following browsers work best when using Google Apps? Smart pick. Chrome is the correct choice. It is a free online language translation app developed by Google.
Good job. Google Translate works well here. What is the default file extension for a Google Docs spreadsheet?
Great job. Sheet is the accurate answer.
What Google app would you use to manage your online communication? Exactly. Gmail makes sense. What are the Google apps we use in Mrs. Rogers' technology class?
Excellent. Doc Slider Sheets is a brilliant choice.
Which of the following file types can be uploaded to Google Drive?
Right choice. All of the choices is the best answer.
Dash is a free education tool from Google for teachers and students.
Valid point. Google Classroom is true. If I need to turn in an assignment for class, which app would I use? And on track. Google Classroom is the correct answer. The 3 parts in which the Google Sites right toolbar is divided are. Nice work. You chose Insert, Pages, and Topics, and it is correct.
What is the default file format for saving documents in Google Docs?
Solid response. Google Docs format is a valid choice. Which tab is used to add additional script files in Google Apps Script? Correct response. Code tab is the most accurate answer. Application designed only for desktop and laptop computers are called. Oh. You got it. Your choice desktop apps fits well.
creating a presentation on Google Apps like any program in Ms. Office.
Clear logic. Your choice Ms. PowerPoint is sound.
Time Management Service by Google to keep track of your appointments.
Bravo. Google Calendar is the answer.
What devices are usually used to make presentations on Google Slides?
Perfect. Slide is the correct choice. Which Google app helps to keep, manage, organize, and share your notes? Strong choice. Keep is the right answer. If I needed to write a paper for school, which Google app would I use?
You chose Google Docs, and it is correct.
What is the name of the tool in Google Docs used for suggesting edits?
Smart move. Suggesting mode is an accurate answer. Google Drive is one of the services from Google that functions as Dash.
Well done. Tempat Penyimpanan Cloud is the right choice.
In Google Docs, the Dash is a listing of all changes made to a document.
Nicely done. Revision history is a solid answer.
If you were visiting a foreign country, what app would be most helpful?
Well picked. Google Translate is the correct answer.
Is an interactive mapping program that covers the vast are of the Earth.
Strong choice. Google Earth is the right answer.
Which service of Google Apps that we can create documents like Ms. Office? Good thinking. Google Docs is the right answer. Usually the recap results from the Google form. We'll change the file to.
Well done. Spreadsheet is the right choice.
It provides instant messaging and can replace the SEMS app on your phone.
Correct. Hangouts is the right answer.
Below is a type of question that can be selected on Google Form, except.
Nice selection. Multiple choice grade is the correct and valid answer.
PowerPoint is one of the programs that are included in the Google apps.
Well reasoned. No is the correct choice.
What can you use to collaborate in real time with others on Google Docs?
You chose Comment, and it is correct.
The Google app that allows you to create drawings, diagrams, and charts.
Sharp thinking. Google Drawings is the right choice.
What is the Google app you use to get your assignments and turn them in? Whoa. Good job. Google Classroom works well here.
4- allows you to write, edit, comment, and collaborate on documents. Solid response. Google Docs is a valid choice.
What are the different ways to display all of your files in Google Drive?
Right again. List view is a valid answer. A Linux-based operating system designed to work primarily with web pages. Great job. Google Chrome OS is the accurate answer.
Which service of Google will help save and schedule various appointments?
Nicely done. Google Calendar is a solid answer.
Google application that functions as a cloud-based word processor is Dash.
Well picked. Google Docs is the correct answer.
What is the Google application suite that includes Gmail, Drive, and Docs?
Smart move. Google Workspace is an accurate answer. What is an advantage of using Google Docs for collaboration in documents?
Exactly. Real-time addition and comments make sense.
What can you do with Google Apps Script besides working with Google Sheets?
Correct response. Send emails is the most accurate answer. In Google Slides, the overall design of all the slides is called the dash.
Excellent choice. Theme is the right answer.
If you wanted to find out about anything in the world, you would use dash.
On track, Google Search is the correct answer.
To change how a Google Slides presentation looks, you can change the dash.
Right choice. Theme is the best answer.
Joel needs to write a research paper. What is the best application to use?
Excellent. Google Docs is a brilliant choice.
Free space on Google Drive of general user account so much is allocated.
Clear logic. Your choice 15 GB is sound.
The various apps that we created can be presented through any Google apps.
You got it. Your choice Google site fits well.
A suite of applications that brings together essential services are called
Smart pick. Google Apps is the correct choice.
the Google application that functions to make online presentations is Dash.
Bravo. Google Slide is the answer. What is the first thing you should do when creating a new Google document? Valid point. Name the document is true.
Google application that makes it easy for users to do a survey called Dash.
Nice work. You chose Google Form and it is correct.
Which Google service that we can create documents like using Eames Office Word?
You're right. Google Docs is the correct answer.
Which of the following Google apps would you use to create a text document?
Perfect. Docs is the correct choice.
In Google Slides, what is the term used for a single page of a presentation?
Great thinking. Slide is the right choice.
Which of the following is a free educational tool for teachers and students?
Correct. Google Classroom is the right answer.
Which Google app will help you to print documents from anywhere in the world?
Nicely done. Cloud Print is a solid answer.
Which Google app would you use to create a presentation about your research?
Exactly, Slides make sense. The 9 boxes that let you access the other Google apps is known as the Dash.
Nice work. You chose Waffle and it is correct.
What Google Drive function allows you to access no internet connection files?
Bravo. Access without connection is the answer. What function is used to add a new row of data to a Google Sheet in AppScript? Nice selection. Append row is the correct and valid answer.
What is the maximum number of collaborators allowed in a Google Docs document?
Smart move. 100 is an accurate answer.
If I wanted to create visuals for a presentation, which Google app would I use?
Well done. Google Slides is the right choice.
Which Google app would you use to create an eye-catching poster about an event?
Good job. Drawings works well here.
What function in Google Sheets is used to calculate the sum of a range of cells?
Valid point. Sum is true.
If you want to type with your voice, you can go to the dash section in Google Docs.
Good thinking. Tools is the right answer.
If you were trying to learn a foreign language, which app would be most helpful?
Strong choice. Google Translate is the right answer. Which of the following Google applications is not used for surfing and research? Solid response. YouTube is a valid choice. In Google Forms, what type of question allows you to select more than one answer? Clear logic. Your choice checkboxes is sound. Which tab in Google Apps Script allows you to add other script files and HTML files?
You got it? Your choice code tab fits well.
Has the ability to turn crude scribbles into clip art using artificial intelligence.
Great job. Google AutoDraw is the accurate answer.
Which of the following is not a type of document that can be created in Google Docs?
Great thinking. Presentation is the right choice.
Which Google app requires you to click the Submit button in order to save your work?
Right choice. Google Form is the best answer.
This app from Google is based on phone numbers and not social media or email accounts.
Excellent. Google Aula is a brilliant choice.
You can create, edit, collaborate, and present in person or across the web using Dash.
On track. Google Slides is the correct answer.
The construction of the spreadsheet on Google Apps like any program in the MEMS office. Perfect. Miss Excel is the correct choice. You would like to write a report about the book you just read. What app would be best? Smart pick. Google Docs is the correct choice. Google tool for organizing classroom learning and creating assignments and discussions.
Right again. Google Classroom is a valid answer.
In Google Slides, dash control how the presentation changes from one slide to the next.
Correct response. Transitions is the most accurate answer.
If I needed to locate an assignment I uploaded from home, which Google app would I use?
You're right. Google Drive is the correct answer. What is the name of the space we use in a Google presentation to make our presentation?
Excellent choice. Slide is the right answer.
What kind of variables need to be defined when working with Google Sheets in AppScript?
Well reasoned. Simple variables is the correct choice.
What features allow you to limit the number of respondents on the Google form dash?
You chose response limit, and it is correct.
A primary requirement for the creation and design of websites with Google Sites is a dash.
Well picked. Have a Google account is the correct answer.
Classroom option within each class containing the files sent. S delivered to your teacher.
Sharp thinking. Class Drive folder is the right choice.
It is a wearable, voice-controlled Android device, which looks like a pair of eyeglasses.
Well picked. Google Glass is the correct answer.
If wanting a video meeting which service, we'll choose to use the Google app for education.
Well done. Google Meet is the right choice.
If you want to leave the presentation mode on Google Slide, Which button must be pressed?
Great thinking. ESC is the right choice.
The Google app that allows you to create presentations.
You chose Google Slides, and it is correct.
Google applications that function to create simple tables and calculations are called Dash.
Valid point. Google Spreadsheet is true.
What formula did the founders of Google create that produced more relevant search results?
Sharp thinking. PageRank is the right choice.
Which Google App Store? Everything you've created and everything that's been shared with you.
Good job. Drive works well here.
You would like to message your teacher about a homework assignment. What app should you use?
Exactly. Gmail makes sense. Which Google app allows you to change the color of a folder to help you organize your files?
Smart move. Google Drive is an accurate answer.
Communication service that allows members to initiate or participate in text or voice chats.
Strong choice. Google Hangouts is the right answer.
What is the name of the Google Drive location where you store the files you create or upload?
Good thinking. My Drive is the right answer.
Which Google app is best used when collecting data by asking questions?
Bravo. Forms is the answer.
Which function in Google Sheets would you use to find the largest number in a range of cells?
Excellent choice. Max is the right answer.
How much storage does each account in Franklin Township School have available in Google Drive? Perfect. Unlimited is the correct choice.
An online word processor that lets you create and format documents and work with other people.
Smart pick. Google Sites is the correct choice.
If you want to write an electronic letter, which application will be used for Google?
Solid response. Google Mail is a valid choice.
What is the maximum number of collaborators that can work on a Google Docs file simultaneously?
Right choice. 100 is the best answer.
The features on Google Docs used to add additional chat for Google Docs applications are Dash.
On track. Extension is the correct answer.
It is a web mapping service developed by Google. It helps us by telling the way of our interest.
Great job. Google Maps is the accurate answer.
You are wanting to conduct a survey of how many students like math class. What app would you use?
Correct response. Google Forms is the most accurate answer.
Is a free online language translation service which instantly translate text into other languages.
Excellent. Google Translate is a brilliant choice.
This Google application allows users to automatically store their photos and videos to the cloud.
Nicely done. Google Photos is a solid answer.
The Google app that allows you to create letters, documents, stories.
Nice work. You chose Google Docs and it is correct.
TeacherNet wants to edit computer reports on Google Docs. Which website should the teacher go to?
Nice selection. http docs. Google.com is the correct and valid answer.
The features that you should use so that other people can see your website on Google Sites is Dash.
Well reasoned. Publish is the correct choice.
You would like to create a presentation sharing your knowledge of capybaras. What app would you use?
Right again. Google Slides is a valid answer.
You would like to share your soccer schedule with your family. What Google app would be best to use? Or
Correct. Calendar is the right answer.
It is a collaboration app that helps your team stay organized and have conversations all in one place.
You got it. Your choice Microsoft Teams fits well.
Google Apps are totally based on Dash for storing and accessing extra data and programs over the internet.
You're right. Cloud computing is the correct answer.
web-based service that provides detailed information on geographical regions and sites around the world.
Clear logic. Your choice Google Maps is sound.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Smart move. Contact Narayan Changder is an accurate answer.